Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good day from my smartphone to yours. I'm casting love from the Sensei Garden Studios in a rainy Costa Mesa, California. And this is your Wednesday Namaste Today. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, stepº1. My modality is psychic astrology, and my mission is to stand in my heart and help other people stand into theirs. Today's webisode is for Wednesday, December 23rd, 2015, and today the human walk has progressed to step 1, Capricorn. Welcome, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's so busy. I am out in the rain today, which is a good thing for California. We're getting some rain, but I'm not quite prepared, as always. So I'm out in the rain. I have to stand. I'll just tell you right now, I can't do the overhead projector in the rain. I can't even sit down in the rain, but it's still beautiful, and I love being outside nonetheless. Today's Step 1 Capricorn rules a day, so it should be a very happy day compared to most Capricorn days. I don't know about you, but yesterday was spooky. I forgot how cold Capricorn can be. And really, Capricorn is the sign of coldness. Saturn gives us the ability to cut things off for good or even for bad, but to cut things off. And so when we transitioned into Capricorn energy yesterday, there was a time where I felt cut off, and I had to reorientate myself and decide to connect. So if you're feeling that kind of spookiness, make sure you decide to connect. But I don't think the world will feel that today. Let's talk about today's vibe. I predict today will be sunny and rather sharp today. That's because Step 1 rules a day, and that means our heart is just online. The universe wants to bring it online. Now, you might be using the excuse of Christmas around the corner, and it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this as I drove in. I'm very sensitive. I'm an empath. As a kid, I remember the feelings and sensations I always had. And now as an astrologer, I'm starting to realize, so I always got excited a couple days before Christmas. That was a Step 1 day, right? And Christmas is always very exciting, but the next day, maybe not. Well, Christmas is a Step 3 day, very jovial. Step 4, breakdown. So the day after Christmas, not always so good. So we kind of go through these routines, and I don't even know if we humans realize it, but there's this little roller coaster. And today's the first kind of like package, bow, optimism, that good stuff is coming. So I'm predicting you'll feel sunny in the heart, and because it's Capricorn, you'll feel sharp in the mind. Now, speaking of the mind is focused on passionate thoughts today. Mercury's at Step 20, and so you want to make sure that you protect your mind and your emotional attitude. That means that you don't think about things that will upset you right now, and you focus on what's important. Because Mercury is way up ahead in Capricorn, the mind has a really good ability to focus, and right now, just so you know, your mind has a really good ability to distract itself. So tell that mind who works for who, okay? Mercury rotates around the sun. The sun does not go around Mercury. That mind works for the heart. But today you need to protect that mind and protect your thoughts. Now, the I receive, or our Venus connection, we are receiving breakthrough experience. So Venus is at Step 22, Scorpio. So we're feeling ourselves, and we're feeling ourselves somewhere else. Or we're feeling ourselves transcend, or we're feeling ourselves, go somewhere else. So there's a compounded breakthrough there. It's in Scorpio, which means whatever you're feeling is really about getting you used to the feeling, not so much maybe this event. So whatever events you go through the next 2 days, it's really about getting you in spiritual shape for maybe a feeling around the corner when we feel stronger later in the Capricorn vibration. Now, your ego, I act, I am, really wants to be clear today on relationships. So your ego wants to be clear in relationships. Your ego wants to tell people stuff. And really it's because your ego has the root intention of clarity today. Also with the root intention of clarity is the moon. The moon is in Gemini, so our emotions and thoughts are going back and forth. And when our feelings and thoughts go back and forth, it's because we're trying to come up with words for it. We're trying to get our mind around it, right? So there's a lot of that back and forth, and a lot of people literally think through their mouth in conversation, here included. I'll be like, blah, 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 like, oh, I just realized that talking to you. You know what I mean? So there'll be a lot of chatter today. Don't be too surprised if people are kind of wasting time on Facebook. And then as far as Saturn himself is concerned, We are dictating what we manifest. And right now, we're manifesting what we believe, okay? We're manifesting what we believe. It's not a contest that your belief is better than someone else's belief or that your belief could ever be wrong. Because when you're an artist and you're using reality to paint, whatever you believe is true. You're the artist, right? So today and through this week, we are manifesting what we believe. We're saying, this is what I believe, and it's going to happen because I said so. Because I said so. If you've been with me around long enough, you know what that means. So today's joy quest, should you choose to accept it, is to open up to that love, okay? Open up to that love. And like I said, Capricorn has the ability to shut off cold. Capricorns can shut themselves off from the world. They tend to, isolate way up on the mountain. It's cold. Not all of us like to be up there. I'm a Taurus. I like to be in the warm green pastures. I'll visit up there, but I don't want to live up there. But Capricorns like the cold and they can deal with the cold. But that doesn't mean you're meant to live in it. All right. So open your heart today. If you're not feeling love, it's because you're not open. And the cool thing is, when you say, I decide to open, and so it is. So whatever you decide and say out loud, that's one of the little wizard tricks of Capricorn. When you say it out loud and you say you decide, it is so. The universe was listening. All right, let's move on to today's topic. Today's topic is one that is so vital to our future, I can't underscore it enough. It is loving decisions, the art of enlightened leadership. So, I've talked a lot about American history. I'm fascinated with American history. Pluto in Capricorn means that we're going to have some sort of re-evolution of the rules. So I myself, as a spiritual philosopher, have been thinking a long time about, well, what would be the rules in this new Constitution? How would one change the rules? And I think today is basically says it all. We're in step 1 Capricorn, which is I love. I love. And myself, I'm a step 18 Taurus, so I love to decide things. I love making decisions because a good decision can carry out and do sorts of spin-off magic and all sorts of stuff. So if you make a really good decision, even if it looks bad right here, I get a real kick out of like making a decision here, and people are like, oh, he's an idiot. Oh, he's a fool. And I'm like, hee, because it lights a fuse to something later. It's just fun, Decisions are our ability to control. But here's the deal. When we wrote the Constitution, we bring up God a lot, which is kind of interesting. And I was thinking about when we go to court, we always swear on the Bible. The Bible, a Christian Bible, mind you, is authority and law. Okay, I think that part of the Constitution needs to go. All right, especially for Muslim Americans and other Americans who are just as valid as Christians. All right, and I speak for Jesus on that, right? Jesus, he's high-fiving. He hates that shift, man. So the point is if we were not to swear in the Bible, what would be the next best thing that every human being has? You swear on your heart. Just like kids do. You swear in your heart. You swear. Because your heart is the soul, right? And that's what step 1 Capricorn is. Your heart will never hurt someone by design. Now, you may be an asshole and never check your heart. Okay? But that's what assholes are. They don't ever check their heart, ever. And so they get further and further and further away from our truth. Love will never misguide, okay? And it will always support in the guidance. Love is our power. I don't think we as Americans have to get into a discussion about religion. I don't think we have to get into a discussion about spirituality. My orders from Creator are, make it about love. That's simple. Every human being gets it. Every aborigine, every cat, every dog, every bird. Everyone speaks the language of love. Swear on your heart, not the Bible. Swear on love in your life and keeping love in your life. That, to me, is the art of enlightened leadership. So what I bring to you today, my friends, is this question to you. When you are in trouble in life, how do you make that decision? What do you go about to make that decision? Okay, and the follow-up. Have you ever gambled on what the heart suggested? Okay, so I will be very frank and honest here. I'm very sharp. I have a Grand Trine in air. That means I got like a computer up here that's like running 24/7. So I made almost all my decisions up until age 38 with logic and reason mostly. Even though I preached love, I didn't actually ask my heart before I made a decision. Now, if it was a crazy decision like getting married to someone, yes, I asked my heart. But because I don't ask my heart enough, I didn't trust what my heart told me in those cases. Because I wasn't asking my heart for bubble gum and all sorts of other things. Me and my heart weren't good friends. So when I asked it the important questions, it told me honestly, but I didn't trust it because we hadn't spent enough time together, me and this guy. So the point is it's my opinion as a spiritual philosopher and as a world leader of the future of the age of Aquarius, that love is the guiding principle. When you make a decision, I think we should always check our heart. And you'll notice that your heart has a different opinion than your feelings, your ego, or your mind. That's why I say we have 12 states of awareness. They're all self-aware. They all have their opinion. So for instance, let's say if it has to do with, dating someone, my mind will think, oh, she's good for me, right? My ego will be like, oh my God, I want that, but am I good enough? You know what I mean? Like, yes, my ego is a black man, I guess. My emotions will be, oh, I don't want to screw it up, right? And my heart be like, hell yeah! You know what I mean? And that's the truth. Now, if I just went with my heart, which is always hell yeah, by the way, that's the thing. I think it would be a different world. Today, step one rules the day. So what that means is today's the day to ask your heart some truths. Now, I always tell my clients, you don't have to share these truths, all right? But I have men and women in midlife crisis, and I say, put your left hand on your heart and ask yourself, do you want to be with other girls too? And your heart goes, yes. Does your heart also love your wife? And your heart goes, yes. And that's what's also crazy about the heart. It doesn't have the same rules as mankind. It has the same rules as God. Because our heart comes from spirit, it comes from God, and it will not lie to you. We don't have to talk humans into a religion or a political system or a way of thinking. We just have to teach our fellow citizens to ask their own forgiving heart for the answer. Now, as to the gambling it, well, in full honesty, I'm just now starting to gamble on my heart. I'm just now starting, this, with me actually getting an RV and touring the nation to meet subscribers of Serious Joy, it's like, my heart wants it, but anyone I tell is like, what? What are you doing? You know what I mean? But my heart wants it. So I'm doing it. And I recommend that anything you do, should we go to the bathroom, should we go to the store, ask the heart, ask the heart. Now, if you're in my personal Sensei service, I just want to be very clear that when I'm talking about your heart, I call it Prince, your first name, or Princess, your first name. So the prince or princess in you is your heart. And it's always a prince or princess because the heart does not grow really past age 13. That's as old as a heart gets, I think, in spiritual years. My heart operates around age 7, I think. I have a lot of 7 energy in me, but I think that's that's my heart. Boom, God slapped me on the back after I went to Disneyland, God slapped me on the back, and I haven't grown up since. That's the truth. But the point is that today you should feel your heart. Today, you should ask your heart some of those difficult questions, and again, put them to the side. You don't have to tell your family or anything. You're getting a relationship in your marriage with your heart, which is the heart of who you are. I'll say one last thing on this and let you go. The solar system, which is what astrology is based on, is the soul's system. It is how the soul operates. In the center is the sun, then Mercury, then this, right? And these are our states of awareness. So what God has told us with the solar system is that the sun is our heart. It's Leo. That's our heart, the 5th house in the natal chart. And every other part of us is meant to rotate around our heart. So is it? That's something to ask yourself today. Let's move on with our Zen Den. And welcome to the Zen Den. So let's go within and let me connect to my guides. Okay, now because I can't do overhead projector, we can't see my hand live, so I do have the chart here. I'm going to go around and my guides just told me a few things that I want to bring up, and I will bring up a graphic from the editing bay. I think that'll help, at least a basic one. So basically I asked my guides, hey, what do they need to know right now? What's most important? And kind of interesting actually, they said Saturn. Now, I said this in the early open that Saturn is at step 10 in Sagittarius. And what that means is that we are officially manifesting, step 10, our beliefs, Sagittarius. And because this is only step 10, step 11 is when our beliefs become reality, by the way. So we're making them a reality and they become a reality at step 11. But because we are manifesting our beliefs, it's very important for you to understand what that means. It means that you're telling God the way it is. You're not looking to find out how it is. And God wanted you to know that, basically. The guides wanted you to know that. They were saying, I asked, what's most important? Basically, holding true to what you believe it will be. And as I said today, and as I've always taught you, your belief comes from your heart. Your prince or princess, your inner prince or princess. So your inner prince or princess has its own make-believe to your inner child, but this is make-believe. This is what we're here. We're here to make ourselves believe, right? Not believe before we can make it. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. So they're saying you got to put it out there, you got to love and trust, and you got to make your belief a reality, right? This goes like, an example of this is like Elon Musk believes he can get to Mars, and he's making that a reality. He's not waiting for God to tell him, yes, here's how you do it, right? He's going, I'm going to show, I know I can. So we have to make that decision, and that has to be cleared. Now, here's the other thing that they told me. Step 22, Venus. Step 22, as you know, is when things get a little slappy. People kind of get a little punch drunk, and they do whether or not they take a substance, okay? The universe gets you a little sloppy. Why? Because step 22, Scorpio, is probably where people change powerfully and change overnight. So if someone, for instance, has a UFO experience where a UFO lands and like they're brought up to the spaceship and told how Earth is all dysfunctional and they come back down, I call that a step 22 Scorpio moment, right? They went through some dimensional shift, and that's what step 22 is. So step 22 Venus is that we have the ability to receive dimensional shift. So if you believe and put it out there, the dimension will open and shift today. And that's what they're telling you. That you can change the dimension. That's the whole point. You can change things and change the games. Oh, I have something to share with you guys coming up that when I'm done, it's going to blow your mind. And it made me realize that God is always full of surprises. Basically, it's an alternative healing, and if it works, when I'm investigating, I'm going to share with you and the world. And I can't believe it if it works, but I do believe it. It's based on sacred geometry. But the point is like, hey man, it's Capricorn. We can close down and say UFOs don't exist. We can close down and say you cannot heal people remotely with energy. You can close down, and that will be how your life is, because what you make happen is what happens. So if you don't believe in these things, you won't see them, you won't experience them. At the same time, what they're saying is you have to open up. You have to love and trust, step 10, and you have to open up to the dimensions and open up to the possibility like, well, maybe there is a way to miraculously heal every disease like that. Maybe we can cure every disease in the entire world like that. That's what I'm talking about, what I've come across. People have been sharing with me things, and I'm starting to go out and interview lightwalkers. So it's like, wow, why did we assume we couldn't? I mean, why are we assuming anything? And that's kind of the ignorance of our time and why Pluto's in Capricorn. We've made a lot of decisions for whatever reason based on the outer world, but not based on our heart. And so if you want to make a dimensional shift, they're saying, follow the step 22. Now, how does step 22 work? The first 2 in the 2 is how you feel. The second 2 in the 2 is where you belong. So it is all like law of attraction, right? I feel this, and I know it's out there. And all of a sudden that second 2 is like, here I am. And that could be a person, an event, a karmic situation. But your 2 that's charged feels the other 2 of where it belongs. They come together. Now, this is kind of like, the classic America melting pot. When the 2 2s come together, the American white Jew and the African American slave, white Jew, black slave, they can go make love and have babies. Whoa, that's not allowed. Well, step 22, when feelings start getting stirred, all the old rules get thrown out because you're going on your feelings and you're going on your heart. So people have the potential today through tomorrow to break through their self-limitations. The next thing they bring me to now is Mars. Mars at step 23 in Libra. What that means is we are trying to get clear on our mirage and get very clear on where we stand in all relationships. Libras to the 10th power, so. Libras, you have got to get clear on your relationships, okay? This is your sensei talking. All right? Don't worry. You could, here's the thing, Libra. You can cut people off and you'll see them in heaven or something. Like you take some, Libras get a little too tied to the moment. But Mars in Libra 23, it's time to say, get clear on who you are, get clear on who you are to yourself, which clarifies where you're going dimensionally, right? Mercury's at step 20 Capricorn, so our mind, I think, is on our feelings too. Our mind is on our feelings, and our mind is on the whole. What's missing? That 0 and the 20 is a whole that requires protection. You have to say, okay, I feel empty here, but it'll be okay because I'll make sure this will be happen. Okay, I feel empty here, but I'm going to go buy some bricks and build a wall. I feel empty here, so I'm going to go consult my therapist and fill this with light. So when people don't address the empty of the 20, that turns into fear. This area that you haven't drawn a circle around and protected, and that fear draws in, I don't know, insert whatever your greatest nightmare is, and you'll law of attract it, law of create it, and that'll be it. So be mindful of your heart. Your heart is not going to draw on the boogeyman, I promise you. Your heart's going to draw on the Lego man. I want to see the Lego man. Take yourself apart and put yourself back together. But that's the truth. That's from my heart using the word Lego. And the last thing is the moon in Gemini and all this 7 energy in the chart. The spirit is saying, your spirit, it's like if you doubt your heart, ask God. So your heart's like, if your heart's like, I want to leave everyone and go to Europe and just forget my whole career, and your heart's like, oh my God, when your own heart says something like, yes, that's what I want to do, suddenly you're a little like, oh, Chris told us to gamble on our heart, Chris told us to follow our heart, oh, shift, what do we do? Well, Sensei says, you ask God. It's like, God, is this right? Like, my heart's telling me to go running off in this direction, like, is that okay? Like, does that seem right to you? So you'll get an affirmation from spirit in addition to your heart. And I think that's how we triangulate. I think our heart, our spirit, and our mind focuses on what our heart and spirit are saying. All right, that concludes our little Zen Den for today. Don't forget, I will be live on JohnEdward.net as a special guest on Christmas Day night. Okay? Set your calendars, and I'll be sending out with texts and reminders to everyone as well. Also, come on down to soulgarden.tv and register if you haven't. I'll be releasing new episodes that I only release behind walls. Firewalls. Capricorn, well-established walls. All right, my friends. Well, I'm going to go. I'll see you tomorrow when things dry up. Until then, please remember that I love you and live, love, be.